has come that you go in and I'm going to sit before this board and I got to tell them why New Hope, Virginia needs a church plant. And so with that being said though, you know, there's guys in there dressed like this and stuff. And they're like they're going to like DC and Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads and Virginia Beach. And one guy was deaf, starting a deaf ministry in Washington DC, and all these like big stuff going on. And so I go in and I know that, and I'm looking around the whole time, like the whole church plant. I'm looking around going like, there was one guy who was a biker and he was starting a church in a bar. We hit it off really good. But everybody else, I'm looking around and I'm like, man, these guys got it together. They got these really cool plans. I remember, I think it was Teresa and Danielle, the birdies, the spin couple. We're sitting at this table and we had to like come up with this mission statement. And I was like, I don't know, like people get saved and they preach. And like, so they're all looking at me. I was like, well, I'm the pastor. That's y'all coming from. So I was just like, man, I don't have the answers that they're looking for, I don't think. So I go and I sit down before this meeting, and Josh is there, which there's great comfort in that, but they start just asking me these questions, and I'm like, I had determined when I go in there, I was like, if this doesn't go, then it's not meant to be, so I'm just going to tell them exactly how I feel. And so the first thing that comes out of my mouth is like, guys, I don't know the first thing about planting a church, really. I know what you've told me here. I'm going to a little tiny town. We're a dot on the map. And I can't tell you about the thousands of people that I'm going to be able to reach. And I can't tell you about these cities that I'm going to go into where there's just, you know, there just has to be a church and there's thousands and thousands of people. I was like, no, I'm going to go to my hometown where there's 800 people, and that's where God's called me to. And, you know, that's who I am. I don't dress right yet. I don't know how to look or act like a church planter. And so I'm like, tell them about the things I want to do. I'm like, hey, we're going to do some, we're going to have lawn parties and we're going to do fall festival and stuff like that. And kids pedal tractor pulls. And this guy across the table from me is just looking dumbfounded. So I'm talking about all this stuff I want to do. He's like, hold up. What's a lawn party? I don't know what a lawn party is. And what is a tractor pull? And so this guy's just like, but he was interested, he just had no idea. You know, things we take for granted, he had no idea. And so we went through it. I went away going, these went really good or really bad. And so a couple of days later they called, they approved it, they end up supporting us more than we had expected, and that was just the beginning of the fear. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Mark. You know, the one thing that we had, myself, Pastor Paul, some of us who had been around Corey had seen, the thing that he, this confidence that he wasn't certain about. But we were, and we all seen it and knew he had it. And our first trip, what's the baseball field over here?
No.
Yeah, no, not this one. We went to another one. Our first trip on our motorcycles, you and I, it's right behind your dad's.
Oh, Barron Ridge.
Barron Ridge. So our first trip together to go and pray was at Barron Ridge.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving there that day, and I picked up this ball. And I knew when we left there that day, I started praying. And I said, God, this is it. I said, I know he doesn't have the confidence right now, but it's coming. And I wrote on his ball, from the mower to your mansion, all things are possible through Christ. I knew. From the moment he walked in my door and sat down in my office and said, Pastor, I think it's time to start a church, I knew I'd be giving him this ball one day. And man, I have been waiting, and I'm excited about giving him that ball. So, it's a good round up there too, by the way.
Yeah, so, I appreciate that. That's awesome. I'd already said my Little League baseball coach is in here. And we hadn't talked in like 20 years. And it was so funny because he ended up showing up at church one day, and I'm like, dude, you're in church? Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, he's not legit, though. And this guy calls me all the time now and just wants to pray with me. He called me up the other day. We had been talking, we were talking about music. He calls me up, he said, hey, preacher, how you doing? He said, hang on, listen to this. Just starts playing gospel music for me. I loved it. It made my day. And but to see where this man was hugely influential in my life, but I never, ever would have seen him as this solid believer that he is, and vice versa. And the whole community would vouch for that too. So it just made me think of that. So, yeah. I guess the next question, where are we at? So, yeah. So, Josh, you're with the SBC, the Southern Baptist Convention, and we are Southern Baptist Conservatives of Virginia. So not everybody here, especially our church, they don't exactly know what all of that looks like. So what do you do at the SBC? Like, what's your title of exactly what you do? And how, so our giving, 10% of our giving goes to the SBC. What is that doing?
Yeah, so first of all, when Corey and I first met, and when Pastor Al and I met, I just knew there was something special about this relationship. And how many of you know God qualifies us, not necessarily man? And so I knew that God was doing something special in our life. And so they called me up. We met at Panera over in Waynesboro. And what we do is we're a network of over 700 churches in Virginia that work together, called the SBC of Virginia, to see the gospel go forth all over the world. And my job is called Church Plant Strategist. And so what I do is go into communities and help a pastor talk about planting a church, strategize, how can we do this, how can we do that. And I do that all over Central Virginia, this area, being a part of that. And so as cooperating together, all of us pool resources so that we can see, as I mentioned, the gospel go all over the place. And as part of our giving, right now, for instance, just one quick example, we've got teams in Puerto Rico right now that are helping rebuild that country, and not just rebuilding the country, but they're sharing the gospel while they help rebuild the country, and hundreds of people are getting saved right now as we speak in Puerto Rico as a result of your contributions, as a result of us partnering together. So right here in New Hope, Virginia, you're playing a part in reaching people in Puerto Rico, and that's awesome. And that's the power of networking. Amen. And that's what I primarily do. So
here I know we're probably getting restless. We're getting there, all right. So let's hop down here a few. So I would just like for sure to learn. So they're our sitting church that's been. We wouldn't be here without their support. At least we wouldn't be as far as long as we are anyway. So you were a pastor of a church plant that you started, and you were a sending church. And so, what advice, what would you share with Sherlyn as a sending church pastor?
Yeah, so first of all, the first thing I would say is sending people out is it's actually in the Bible. And so how many of you know obedience to the scripture is important? And so when I met with Pastor Corey and Pastor Allen, the unique thing was that you had a sending church and a church planter coming together, and saying we want to reach a community together. And so that was awesome, and it was awesome to be kingdom-minded. And see, primarily, what was really cool about this is you see a young man that's got a heart for his hometown. And anymore, you've got people wanting to go to big cities. They want to go to Los Angeles, Chicago, all these places to reach people. But how many of you know there are people in small towns that need a gospel? And so here was a guy that was saying, I've got a heart for my hometown. 15 years ago, I planted the church in my hometown because I had a heart to see the people in my hometown come to know Jesus and see the gospel spread. And so all these dynamics began to come forth. I did my doctoral dissertation on why church planners should go back and reach their hometown. And so here comes Corey, and I'm so excited, about what God is doing. And so my advice would be think kingdom minded. When you send people and resources out, all kind of emotions come into check. It challenges us. We wonder, how are we going to do this? We've got our own things that we're trying to do. We've got our own budget. We've got all of this going on. How can we afford to send people and resources out? Everybody I've talked to that's ever done this, and I've done this, did it 2 or 3 times. When we send resources and people out to plant new gospel churches, God provides 100-fold. He replaces all of that. And because of this partnership on this platform today, we're here. And we're reaching this community. Is that awesome or what? It's incredible. But it's all coming through. It's not about our church. It's not about this. It's not about us. It's all about God wanting to reach people with the gospel. And sometimes that's hard to do. So.
All right, we appreciate that. Good word. I'm going to skip a few more here. So I'm sure Sherlyn kind of want to hear, like, where are we at? What's happened? I know that's probably questions for you guys. Real quick, we soft launched, and I'll talk about it in a minute, in 2016 in October. And soft launch is we just started having church on Sunday mornings with just the team that we had started. We weren't advertising, we weren't going out really reaching people yet. It's kind of like we were practicing for church. We wanted to figure out like the things that can't get the kinks out of everything. And so we met for 3 months, and then, but I remember our very first service when we soft launched. Here we had, later on we had said, all right, now we're ready to invite people in, and we're going to encourage people to come to our church. And so that day comes, and we're ready. We have pipe and drape up. We have sound system. We have everything laid out. We're ready to go. And here, for the last year, all I've told these people is like, I'm telling you, this is where it's at. You're going to love New Hope. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be great. And so we're waiting, and it's like, it's 9:50. Ain't nobody here. It's 9:55. Ain't nobody here. And I start looking around, and I see these faces of despair. And I'm like, I did not prepare a speech for this. And I was sick to my stomach. And so I go down to the end of the hallway, and I'm like, getting ready. I was going to go get Brian from the greeting door and come on down, and we'll have church with just us. And I go down, and Brian has got tears rolling down his eyes. And he said, man, they're in the parking lot. He said, they're rolling in here. He's like, open the doors. They're coming. They're coming. Because I went up, I said, what's wrong? He said, he's like, I'm just so excited that they're coming. I'm just so excited that they're here. And so that was another one of those moments where God just keeps messing with me, man. So long story short, church starts at 10:15. So we are not on time ever. And so I feel less bad about being late sometimes now. But where are we at? So over the past year, we've seen 24 people baptized. Our first service, we met in a little carpet room on the other side. And our first service was probably about 50 or 60 with kids, with everybody. So now, through our largest service to date was definitely our picnic service. We had about 175. Our Christmas service this year was around 150. But our average with kids and everything has been 120 to 125 with all of our kids' ministry. just some of the testimonies that you heard. I didn't tell T to say any of that stuff about me, by the way. But just the testimonies that you hear, and you're going to hear 2 more to close, and I know you've been really patient, but it's worth it, I promise you. And so I guess one of the other questions that I think Sherlyn may be interested in is what's it like to be a portable church? So we roll into this thing, it never dawned on me like, this isn't your building. And you don't just roll in and do what you want whenever you want. It's a community center. And so what you see, this stuff every single week, every week, we have people that get here 2 hours before church. They set up all this stuff. They set up sound. They put all the chairs out. Set everything. We go in there, and there's nothing there. We got to set up and make it look like a church every week. And they keep coming back and doing it, so I keep preaching. And, but it's incredibly difficult, I guess, because you have to work with the community with schedules, and so that's a difficult part. But being here, although that's it's something difficult, at the same time, here we are. Like, they come to us. We don't have to go out there. We're at the community center, so anytime there's events going on, baseball team let us put a couple of signs out there, and so we're in the heart of New Hope, and so even the things that make it more difficult are just, it is made up for by the great opportunity that we've had to be able to work with the Rewingtons, the fire department, to come together and do things in this community. We did a parade for the first time in like 20 years, New Hope Parade. We used to do this when I was a kid. And so a couple of these ladies are working on this Winter Wonderland. I was like, I don't know what that looks like. Go for it. I'm behind you. But I had no idea what this was. So this whole place was decked out. Lights and trees and everything. It's all totally decked out. And so we're like, man, I wonder how the New Hope Parade's going to go. Something just from years ago. So we meet up at the Methodist Church. We're coming through town. Dad's pulling us on Renee Smallwood's Farm Mall. We're rolling up through there. Benji's up under there, under a tent. All you could see was his hands and guitar and the streets were lined with people. I mean, this parking lot was full. The telephone company down the road was full. The bank parking lot was full. The bank ain't there anymore. Couldn't keep it open. It was full. I mean, everywhere was full. And it was just like people would come afterwards with some of these ladies that put this on and with tears in their eyes. Well, we haven't been together like a community like this in a long time. And they were just thankful for the things, the community events, things that are going. So that's just one example of something that's been really exciting for us just recently. All right, yeah, that's it for me.
You want me to get the last one here with Josh?
Sure.
Well, Corey, or either one of them, I can. He's talked to us about the growth, and we kind of like to, I guess for me, you've accomplished so many goals. What's some future goals, a couple of them, before we move on?
So my church knows the answer to this question, maybe. So I had all these goals coming into here. I'm like, man, we're gonna do fall festivals and trunk or treats, and we're gonna, one day we'll get this parade going and all this stuff. And my 5-year plan's done on year 1. I'm dead serious.
Amen.
So what is our goal going for? I'm like waiting on them to tell me now, because they have just rolled with it. And so I think the biggest part is we are growing. We're about to that 80% rule on the other side, where we're full enough that we still have room, but we're also to that place where it's awkward for people to come in and find a seat. So our goal is right here, what you're looking at. And so this is what we want to see without Shirley being here. But there's no AC in here. There's no insulation. It needs work. And so this is a goal that we have, that we want to see this be restored. This is Del Curry, played basketball right here on this court. As you don't know that, Steph Curry's dad. For younger people, played basketball here. I'm calling him up, trying to get in touch with him to say, hey, we need a check. We're gonna flip this place that you grew up in. And so we're gonna have to come together as a community because there's a lot that needs to be done. There's funds there that that we don't have, and so we're praying about how to restore this, to see this place used more, and to have church here with it smelling like fresh paint and in the cool air conditioning in the summertime. So how we get from here to there that's what we're working on right now, is figuring out how we do that. I'm working on it.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. So, question, Pastor Allen, as we close out, what's been the most rewarding thing as Ascending Church?
Today, without a doubt, seeing this right here, seeing Corey and Danielle, and folks, I am so thankful for you all as a church, and I am proud of what they've done, but I am so thankful that God is the center point and the focal point. And Shirley, and thank you. God's not done with you either, and we've got a lot to do together, and I'm just tickled for today, and thank each one of you.
Amen.
So, real quick, no, you go ahead with that first.
Yeah, so Shirley, thank you so much for supporting New Life Baptist Church, and I want to take this opportunity. This is called an Eagle Award, and it's something that we do and present to pastors and churches who sponsor a church plant and send them out. And so on behalf of the SBC of Virginia, Pastor Allen, we want to thank you for supporting New Life Baptist Church.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you, Pastor Allen. And so, last one here, for me, the most rewarding. So the most rewarding for me has been the relationships that we've built as a church. It's so different, I guess, when it's this small little town. Everybody knows everybody. You don't do things without everybody knowing about it. Example: one day I didn't know Chris knocked on my door. I didn't get to the door in time, and I was upstairs in my office, and somebody knocked on my door, and I didn't know who it was, and I thought, man, I missed somebody, so I put it out on Facebook. I said, hey, somebody just stopped by my house. I'd love to talk to you. Let me know if that was you. So like 5 minutes later, hey, I heard down at New Hope Grocery that it was your old baseball coach who stopped by to see me. I'm not even joking. It wasn't even an hour, and I found out who it was. So everybody, it's like Mayberry. It is. We have Farmer Dave in here. Comes to church every week. That just I can't say enough about what a good man he is and his family. That his dad was my bus driver. You're going to hear from some of that. So people that I grew up riding the school bus with, people that I grew up butchering hogs at the shed up the road here. We grew up together, and so there's a lot of people, my age and around my age, and my parents and stuff that want to see some of that stuff come back, and they're as equally passionate about this community as I am. And what's been really fun to watch is their relationships outside of church. We were just talking yesterday, and I think some of these ladies are going to share more about that, so I'll leave that for them. But the most rewarding has been working with these people. It's been awesome. So. But to end on that, we have a couple ladies who are going to share. This is a part of what is most rewarding to me as a pastor is the testimonies and the things that you have heard this morning. So wrapping it up, who we got first?
They're all coming.
We're not brave enough faces crowd alone yet.
In the middle. So I'm gonna try to get through this, and I wrote it down because I'm not sure I can, so my husband will pick it up from there. But last year, we started hearing from Farmer Dave, who happens to be my cousin, about this church starting in New Hope. And every time I'd run into Dave, it was like, you need to come hear this preacher. He's Corey Smallwood, grew up in New Hope, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So, then last June, my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. She was 91. She was a very godly woman. So Dave's birthday was in July. So these are my cousins too. So Tracy came up with the idea for us to bring Mom to surprise Dave on his birthday. So we did. Mom said, well, yeah, we'll go, but next Sunday we're going to go back to our church. And I said, okay, that's fine. Well, the next Sunday she wasn't able to go anywhere. And the following Sunday, she said, I want to go back to that church in New Hope. She said, I really like it there. She said, I really like that preacher. He's good. So I said, okay. And I will tell you that the first Sunday that we came, I was totally captivated with Corey's enthusiasm for the Lord. His enthusiasm is just, it's contagious. It's just wonderful. So anyway, that was the last Sunday that Mom got to attend church. She passed away.
Y'all clap.
So the following Sunday, Mama went to be with Jesus. And following her death, the love and support shown to us from Corey and Danielle, this congregation, it was just totally amazing. And even though Corey had only met Mom twice, I asked him if he would speak at her funeral, and without hesitation, he said, yeah, I will. So they came to our home, they prayed with us, they loved on us. Danielle, somebody was talking about a text message that they got, and I got a lot of them, and showing her love and support. So since then, we've been attending here, and we've decided to become members. And my daughter-in-law, our grandkids, great-grandkids, they're all here too. I just don't believe it was a coincidence that Mom chose to come here the last Sunday that she ever went anywhere. I believe that she led us, her family, here. I truly believe that. I always think of Pastor Corey, he's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. From his sermon titles, Mountains, Mustard Seeds, and Machetes. And then there's my personal favorite, Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animals. I loved it. It always keeps you intrigued, but one thing you can be sure of is that you always get the pure word of God from Pastor Corey. It's pretty neat that Corey and Danielle, whenever we do any type of, like he was talking about, Winter Wonderland, Fall Festival, they're right in there. They're right in there working side by side with us. They don't set themselves apart because he's the preacher and she's his wife. So to end, I really thank the Lord for giving Pastor Corey the vision for this church. And I thank him and Danielle for following up on that vision. We love you guys.
I'll go. I already told him 2 weeks ago I was not going to do this because I did it last year, but you see that I'm up here anyways. I'm Justine, this is my mom Tracy, and Corey and I grew up together. I'm from this community. We grew up on the same street, rode the same bus. I'm not going to share a bunch of bad stories about him. He's already had a few passed around. I guess I kept thinking about the words to describe New Life. We did come to the first pre-launch service in October, and we came in. I had heard about that he was coming back here and he was going to start a church, and I told my mom and my sister, and we thought, well, we'll go down and check it out at the school and see what's up. I laughed at what my sister said last night. She said, we just went down there because we wanted to make sure that he was going to be preaching out of the same Bible we were reading. I said, yeah, that's right. And so, we came in and we really had no expectations. We didn't know what we were going to get ourselves into. And when I sat and think, we came in that morning, and 3 months later, we were sitting in Corey's living room signing memberships to New Life Baptist. It's like unbelievable. And then to look what the next, year brought, and we're here today, and it's like the word that kept coming to my mind was a word that Corey uses during service sometimes. It's the supernatural. I mean, what happened this past year has nothing but God written all over it. And it was because of their obedience to what God was calling them to do. And they came here and they trusted, and He is right. We didn't show up until 10:15 that Sunday, because that's just the schedule. We still don't. We were lucky this morning to get here at 9:55. And we all live the closest. But, it was just a supernatural, it's multiple things, and there's not enough time to recap all of it. But from the outreach with the community to the individual relationships inside the church that have grown from, we're not just a congregation, we are friends. We talk to each other all week. We don't just see each other on Sunday and walk out the door and see you next Sunday. We communicate all week long. A couple of us, we work out in the gym. We've got group classes. We're just constantly tied, connected into each other's lives, and I think that's what makes us so strong. And, everyone just so passionate to do what God's calling us to do. So Corey has the 2018 is called The Impossible. I'm a little nervous about that because I feel like we've accomplished so much for 2017. But that's it for me. Okay.
So this building is more than just an old building. The memories that are here from our family, from our community is amazing. My father and my mother were custodians over this whole school for almost 30 years. So for us as a family, as we walk in here, we have memories of, as a child, writing on every chalkboard in every classroom, pretending I was a teacher, to sweeping the floors. My brother Dave and all of us swept all the floors. And so it's a lot of memory for us here. So to think that you all are sitting here as a church is amazing to me. It's amazing. Corey's grandfather, Mervyn, was like another dad to me. I loved him dearly, and my girls, we loved him, and my dad and him were good friends. And so there was lots of things growing up in the butcher and shed and things that took place as a family with Corey's grandfather and grandmother Betty. My dad driving the bus with Corey, when we started talking about Corey was going to be having New Life to come here and plant this church, I was like, Corey, and then I started thinking, oh, the boy that my dad referred to as the Smallwood boy. Because there was many stories as he came home off the bus and we heard the Smallwood boy.
I promise I was not sharing this story. Her on the other hand.
So when we talked about coming in that October, I was like really, honestly, a little skeptical because I know that the stories I had heard, I mean, yeah, he went to college, he became a preacher, but, you know, you didn't even go to college and be a preacher, right? So we'll see. But I knew as soon as we walked in, it was no doubt within about 30 minutes of there, and in the people that were there that had came with him, that this is where I wanted to be. And it has just been amazing. There's a lot that happened in the community. I've seen people come that I hadn't seen for a while. And it's like we live around each other, but then they're coming. And I got from most of them saying, I've been looking. So I feel like everyone that's here has been, literally God has handpicked you and put you here because God had a great plan to work through Corey, and this community needed it. The people needed it. One of the most precious things, I think, and it was just so neat, at the Winter Wonderland, I'd seen all these people come in and they were amazed and so happy to see that New Hope Community Center was, doing something, the community was coming together. But at the end, when everything was over, we had set up for church the next day, and there was the pulpit was up here, and my grandson, Preston, who's 6, came up on the stage, and he mimics Corey in many ways, in praying and stuff. He really looks up to Corey. And so my granddaughter and a couple of the other girls were sitting here in the seats, and he got up on the pulpit and he was like, and God is good. And God will help you. And he's preaching because he wants to be like Corey. So what's amazing about that is that my dad, who I heard the Smallwood boy again, it's named because of something that happened on the bus. I'm sure him and Mervyn were proudly looking down as Preston stood there admiring the man that now is a part of this community and has planted a church. So that was very, very heartwarming for me. So we're just glad you listened to God.
So for me, those are the most rewarding things for me. I promise I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing for people to talk good about you, I guess, but I appreciate it. It's humbling to me, and thank you. But all right, we're done. All right, so we're getting ready to eat. But before we eat, we got like a couple more door prizes. So I'm gonna make this real quick. Danielle, what do we got first here? I think we skipped that one. $50 Amazon card. First female, bring your hand sanitizer. First female, hand sanitizer, $50 Amazon card. Oh, we need hand sanitizer.
I just wanted to prove I had hand sanitizer.
The longest beard for guys. It's the guys. You got, I know who it is.
Come on, Ben.
He's gonna get mad at me. I'm not gonna call anybody out. Look at that beard! Hey! Look at that beard. All right, first guy to bring me a pocket knife. There you go, look at there. So So this is Kenny. How many of you remember Kenny Burger? Right? Yeah. I mean, this guy right here, he's better than Kenny Burger. He's good. All right, who in this room has been married the longest? 50 years. Anybody stand up who's been married 50 years? Alan said, it feels like it. I've been married 40 years. It took me 3 people to get married. 40 years. All right, 45. 44. All right here. You waving at me? Is that you right here? Donna, is that your mom? All right. There we go. 61. 61. Female quick. I mean, like, we were gonna do. Let's see here. So, I'll make it fair, something that both churches should know. You heard it today. First lady to shout it out, I guess. Raise their hand. Raise your hand first. At what age did I get saved? All right, who was it? Pick a lady. Pick a lady. All right, who said it? Right here. I heard 15. Right here?
Right here.
16. Oh, right here. All right, there you go. One more. All right. I need one more question then. I had some other things we're going to do, but we're trying to save some time. All right, whose birthday? All right, today, January 21st. We're celebrating our anniversary as a church. Whose anniversary is closest to today's date? Birthday. It's today. Here you go. All right, so that's all we have for the gifts. Thank you all. Hey, thanks again for being here, for coming to support us. I know it was a long service, but we'll probably never get to do this again in this way. And also, I have something for Josh and Alan. I'll give it to you later, but Dick's Sporting Goods, you can't go wrong there. So, but hey, it's time to eat. So what I would like to do is our guys, we're gonna, as many guys as are willing and able, we're gonna get the chairs over really quickly, and we're ready to eat. So I'm gonna pray. The men that can grab the folding chairs, any of the folding chairs to take over, and we're gonna dismiss Sherlyn first to eat. All right. So I'm gonna pray. Sherlyn, you're dismissed, and guys will get the chairs. Lord God, we thank you again for a great service. I'm so thankful for my church family. I'm thankful for Sherlyn and how they've just blessed our church and been a part of bringing us to New Hope. So God, I just pray again blessings on Sherlyn, on New Life, and God, may we continue to never waver, to never compromise, to always preach the gospel and reach people. And God, I pray you bless the food we're about to eat in good fellowship. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, Shirley, you go over and eat. Down the breezeway, straight off the building.